How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another video. Now, I know you've done this before. Now I'm going to show you how to avoid it. So let's get it. When you're chipping into the grain or in a really soft area like we are right now, it's really easy for the club to dig into the ground. And you'll hit shots where they don't go anywhere, like I just did. To avoid this, we got to understand what is going on, what is digging into the ground. And the two parts of the club that are going to dig are the leading edge and the heel of the club. So when we're chipping in spots like this, we need to avoid using those aspects. So hear me out. For the setup position, to avoid using these aspects of the club, we want to get closer to the ball, get that heel off the ground. So it's going to seem like the toes digging down. So hands up a little bit, we're getting a little closer, heel comes up. We took out the heel of the club already. Secondly, we got to take out the leading edge. So we're going to open the club face up. That lifts up the leading edge and we start using the bounce of the club. Bounce of the club. So now from here, heel is up, face is open. But now since we open the face, it's pointing to the right. So we need to adjust our setup. So our feet are going to open up. So the face is now pointing towards the target. And just like every other chip, we want more weight on our lead side. We think 65, 70% on this lead side. For almost all chips, that's how it's going to be. Now, the one last thing to remember is we want our hands to be over the golf ball if you're looking face on. An easy way to think about this is make sure ball position is slightly forward to center, and then make sure the butt of the club is pointing at your belt buckle or your belly button. We want to keep this in the same area at address and at impact. If we get our hands way in front, the leading edge is going to dig again. So we want to make sure these hands stay back. Now when we're chipping, when we're doing the motion, we want to make sure we get our hands back to this position. So while we do the chipping motion, we want to use as little hands as possible. Actually, don't want to use any hands. No wrists, no hands. We're going to really just focus on turning with our shoulders and a little bit of our hips. We want to just focus on that's what moves the club. We don't want any hand wrist motion. That's going to make it really hard to make solid contact and get back to the same position. So no hands, all rotation with the shoulders and a little bit of hips. So we hit the shot, it didn't dig, but I know what you're thinking. Darren, that launched really high. I don't want to hit it that high all the time. Well, believe it or not, you got 14 golf clubs. Utilize them. That first chip was with my 58 degree, but if you want to hit it lower, just use less loft, 52. Pitching wedge. You can keep going down to 9. It's all the same motion. Less loft is going to make it come out lower for you. The main goal is to make sure the club doesn't dig into the ground. So if you want to hit lower without having to expose the leading edge, just use less loft. Now I moved back to a little longer chip to show you what changes when you have to get farther away. And from this distance, we can honestly do the same motion, just make a longer backswing. So again, heel comes up, face gets open, weight's still on our left side, and our hands, butt of the club still pointing towards our belt buckle. We can still do the same thing, but just make a little longer backswing. That was pretty good. Now, if we need to hit a shot with more speed, maybe we're farther back or we got to hit it really high, what we need to do is start using a little bit of that wrist action. This is going to help us create some speed. But the biggest thing is we need to get the club back under our hands at impact. We want our hands over the ball at impact, if not slightly behind. If we get it in front, that's where we get the leading edge start digging again. The easiest way to time this up is really just to have a light grip pressure. If we death grip it, just really choke it, it's going to be really hard to release the club in time. Odds are you're going to drag the handle, dig at it, you're going to chunk it like we saw earlier. So just go light grip pressure. You can really just let the weight of the club release for you. Not even thinking about it, it's just going to release. So I'll hit one really high for you so you can see it. So I created more speed using that wrist action, but I still got the hands over the golf ball at impact. The biggest thing we always want to remember when trying to avoid chunking it and getting that leading edge digging into the grass, especially when we're into the grain, is to make sure we're using the bounce of the club. So hands over the ball at impact. We don't want them in front. We almost could have them a little bit behind. So that's all I got for you today. I want you to take what you learned in this video, bring it to the golf course, and stop chunking it around the greens. No one likes doing that. So if you learned anything, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.